Hey, hey, girls. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Good for you, Meredith. I didn't go out this morning. Today's my day. My day of not. I'll go out tomorrow morning before church. I've been yawning all morning. I've been sitting in this chair since 6:30, sipping coffee and catching up on messages, and clearly did my hair before going live because, why not? And I'm sitting here freezing. Sundays are your day of not. Yeah, I get that. Typically, Sundays are my day of not for everything else, but I figure I'm getting up and getting ready for church and heading out the door. I don't know, it just works on Sunday for me, and Saturday tends to be my day of sleeping in, although I didn't this morning. I tried to, but my brain is going too fast. I couldn't sleep this morning, so I just got up and do you, Karen? I bet it looks lovely. I have a bunch of meetings today, so I needed to wash my hair. It was looking pretty desperate. All right, we are on October 11th. The faith of a Gentile woman, Mark 7:24 through 30. Then Jesus left Galilee and went north to the region of Tyre. He didn't want anyone to know which house he was staying in, but he couldn't keep it a secret. Right away, a woman who had heard about him came and fell at his feet. Her little girl was possessed by an evil spirit, and she begged him to cast out the demon from her daughter. Since she was a Gentile. I cannot read this morning. Since she was a Gentile born in Syrian Phoenicia, Jesus told her, "First, I should feed the children, my own family, the Jews. It isn't right to take food from the children and throw it to the dogs." She replied, "That's true, Lord, but even the dogs under the table are allowed to eat the scraps from the children's plate." "Good answer," he said. "Now go home, for the demon has left your daughter." And when she arrived, she found her little girl lying quietly in bed, and the demon was gone. Matthew 15:21 through 28. Then Jesus left Galilee and went north to the region of Tyre and Sidon. A Gentile woman who lived there came to him, pleading, "Have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David, for my daughter is possessed by a demon that torments her severely." But Jesus gave her no reply, not even a word. Then his disciples urged him to send her away. "Tell her to go away," they said. "She is bothering us with all of her begging." Then Jesus said to the woman, "I was sent only to help God's lost sheep, the people of Israel." But she came and worshipped him, pleading again, "Lord, help me." Jesus responded, "It isn't right to take food from the children and throw it to the dogs." She replied, "That's true, Lord, but even the dogs are allowed to eat the scraps that fall beneath the master's table." "Dear woman," Jesus said to her, "your faith is great. Your request is granted." And her daughter was instantly healed. Jesus heals a deaf and mute man. Mark 7:31 through 37. Jesus left Tyre and went up to Sidon before going back to the Sea of Galilee and the region of the 10 Towers. A deaf man with a special impediment was brought to him, and the people begged Jesus to lay his hands on the man to heal him. Jesus led him away from the crowd so they could be alone. He put his fingers into the man's ears. Then, spitting on his own fingers, he touched the man's tongue. Looking up to heaven, he sighed and said, Ephphatha. There's a lot of P and H's in that one word, Ephphatha, which means be opened. Instantly, the man could hear perfectly, and his tongue was freed so he could speak plainly. Jesus told the crowd not to tell anyone, but the more he told them not to, the more they spread the news. They were completely amazed and said again and again, "Everything he does is wonderful. He even makes the deaf to hear and gives speech to those who cannot speak." Jesus heals many people. Matthew 15:29 through 31. Jesus returned to the Sea of Galilee and climbed a hill and sat down. A vast crowd brought to him people who were lame. Excuse me. blind, crippled, and those who couldn't speak, and many others. They laid them before Jesus, and he healed them all. The crowd was amazed. Those who hadn't been able to speak were talking and were talking. The crippled were made well, and the lame were walking, and the blind could see again, and they praised the God of Israel. Jesus feeds 4,000, Mark 8, 1 through 10. About this time, another large crowd had gathered, and the people ran out of food again. Jesus called his disciples and told them, I feel sorry for these people. They have been here with me for 3 days, and they have had nothing to eat. If I send them home, they will faint along the way, for some of them have come a long distance. His disciples replied, How are we supposed to find enough food to feed them out here in the wilderness? Jesus asked, How much bread do you have? 7 loaves, they replied. So Jesus told all the people to sit down on the ground. Then he took the 7 loaves, thanked God for them, and broke them into pieces. He gave them to his disciples, who distributed the bread to the crowd. A few small fish were found, too, so Jesus also blessed these and told the disciples to distribute them. They ate as much as they wanted. Afterward, the disciples picked up 7 large baskets of leftover food. There were about 4,000 men in the crowd that day, and Jesus sent them home after they had eaten. Immediately after this, he got into the boat with his disciples and crossed over to the region of Dalmanutha. Matthew 15:32 through 39. Then Jesus called his disciples and told them, I feel sorry for these people. They have been here with me for 3 days, and they have nothing left to eat. I don't want to send them away hungry, or they will faint along the way. The disciples replied, Where would we get enough food here in the wilderness for such a huge crowd? Jesus asked, How much bread do you have? They replied, 7 loaves and a few small fish. Jesus told all the people to sit down on the ground. Then he took the 7 loaves and the fish and thanked God for them, and broke them into pieces. He gave them to the disciples, who distributed the food to the crowd. They all ate as much as they wanted. Afterward, the disciples picked up 7 large baskets of leftover food. There were 4,000 men who were fed that day, in addition to all the women and children. Then Jesus sent the people home, and he got into the boat and crossed over to the region of Magadan. Pharisees demand a miraculous sign, Matthew 16, 1 through 4. One day, the Pharisees and Sadducees came to test Jesus, demanding that he show them a miraculous sign from heaven to prove his authority. He replied, You know the saying, red sky at night means fair weather tomorrow. Red sky in the morning means foul weather all day. You know how to interpret the weather signs in the sky, but you don't know how to interpret the signs of the times. Only an evil, adulterous generation would demand a miraculous sign, but the only sign I will give them is a sign of the prophet Jonah. Then Jesus left them and went away. Mark 8:11 through 13. When the Pharisees heard that Jesus had arrived, they came and started to argue with him. Testing him, they demanded that he show them a miraculous sign from heaven to prove his authority. When he heard this, he sighed deeply in his spirit and said, Why do these people keep demanding a miraculous sign? I tell you the truth, I will not give this generation any such sign. So he got back into the boat and left them, and he crossed to the other side of the lake. Yeast of the leaders, Mark 8:14 through 21. But the disciples had forgotten to bring any food. They had only 1 loaf of bread with them in the boat. As they were crossing the lake, Jesus warned them, Watch out, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and of Herod. At this they began to argue with each other because they hadn't brought any bread. Jesus knew what they were saying, so he said, Why are you arguing about having no bread? Don't you know or understand even yet? Are your hearts too hard to take it in? You have eyes, can't you see? You have ears, can't you hear? Don't you remember anything at all? When I fed the 5,000 with 5 loaves of bread, how many baskets of leftovers did you pick up afterward? 12, they said. And when I fed 4,000 with 7 loaves, how many large baskets of leftovers did you pick up? 7, they said. Don't you understand yet? He asked them. Matthew 16, 5 through 12. Later, after they crossed to the other side of the lake, the disciples discovered they had forgotten to bring any bread. Watch out, Jesus warned them, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees. And at this they began to argue with each other because they hadn't brought any bread. Jesus knew what they were saying, so he said, You have so little faith. Why are you saying with each other about having no bread? Don't you understand even yet? Don't you remember the 5,000 I fed with 5 loaves and the baskets of leftovers you picked up? Or the 4,000 I fed with the 7 loaves and the large baskets of leftovers you picked up? Why can't you understand that I'm not talking about bread? So again I say, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Then at last they understood that he wasn't speaking about the yeast and bread, but about the deceptive teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. It seems kind of ridiculous, doesn't it, that he just fed 5,000 people with a couple loaves of bread, and the disciples are freaking out about not having any bread. It does make you think, why were they so unbelieving? I swear I sleep at night. I don't know why I get up and yawn all day long. I feel like I could go to sleep right now. I'm drowsy as all get out. Maybe I need to stop drinking coffee. Maybe it's making me sleepy. Blasphemy. I won't be stopping my coffee. Just kidding. It's not happening. This morning I'm drinking maple flavored coffee from some little shop in Gatlinburg. It's quite good. I'm not a big fan of lots of different flavors of coffee, but I do like maple. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, girls. Let's go ahead and pray together this morning, shall we? God our Father, thank you for our time together, for the reading of your word this morning, for the reminders of your love and care for us, God, and just thank you for meeting us here. God, today I lift up these women to you that are here live and have many heavy worries on their heart, difficulties, fears, loss, and struggles that are happening. And we just praise you and thank you that we can bring these worries and fears and burdens to your feet and lay them at your feet, God. And that's what we do today with these. We pray for Tina and her family and recovery for her son after their farm accident. We just pray for peace to surround them and quick healing for her son. God, we continue to pray for little Silas, and as he nears hopefully the end of being in this halo, that you would continue to provide him strength and peace for his family. We continue to pray for this young girl, Sierra, and that you would defeat this cancer in her body and clear her body of this cancer and bring peace and comfort to her and her family as well. We also continue to pray for our friends with cancer. I think of Kate and also our friend Karen and her upcoming surgery. And as she prepares for that, we ask for continued peace for her heart and for her husband, and that she will gain strength from those around us that are lifting her up and encouraging her and supporting her as she gets ready to walk through this mastectomy. God, we also pray for Kay and what she's dealing with, and just ask for answers for her and continued strength for her as she goes through this difficulty that she's dealing with. We also pray for Kim and her family and continue to lift them up to you for strength and for healing and for just protection for her family. God, I know there are many other concerns that I don't know about or that I've missed, and I just pray for your peace. Thank you that we can lean on you during these difficult times of struggle. God, as we go through our day, help us to remain faithful to you and what you have for our lives, honoring our bodies with everything that we do, with what we say, how we treat others around us, and what we put into our bodies. In your precious name, amen. All right, girls. Thank you for joining me this morning so much. I appreciate you being here. And now I need to go to work. If you haven't seen, I just released the registration for my upcoming free week of coaching, which is starting on October, I think it's the 25th or something like that. It's the Sunday. It's the last week of October. We're going to do a week of free group coaching. and it will be held on Circle, which is different than I've ever done. You'll get access to education, to a menu, to a group, to a group Zoom. Got the hiccups. You'll have access to a Zoom call and all the benefits of group coaching with Marco Polo, and you get to experience a week of that with us and set you up for a holiday season of On Plan. That is the last week of October. You can grab that registration on my Facebook page, on the KJ York one, and I've also opened registration for my upcoming Pay What You Can workshop. This is my last Pay What You Can workshop of 2025. I committed to doing Pay What You Can for this year, and I don't know what next year looks like yet. I'm still in the midst of planning my year for 2025, but this workshop is about insulin resistance, because I am recently insulin resistance certified as well as hormone certified. I just haven't announced that one yet, but my first insulin resistance workshop will be held November 10th, but I've already opened registration, and it is Pay What You Can, and I truly mean that. So if you haven't registered for that, check your email. If you're on my email list, if you're not, it's on my Facebook page. I'll be sending lots of notices prior to that workshop, and I'm looking forward to that one. It's called Insulin Resistance Reset. What else? I guess that's all. I've got to go to work. I have a lot on my plate today. I don't know why I'm talking like this, just because I can. That's all I got for you. I love you so much. I hope you have an amazing Saturday, an amazing weekend. Get some time to sit and rest and chill. Yeah, I love you guys. Have a great day. I look like such an old lady. I'm sitting here curled up in a blanket with my coffee and my hair turban on. I just caught a glimpse of myself and realized just how pathetic I look. All I need is some Melba toast.